Hello and welcome everyone to this Fireside chat with SinterCast soon-to-be new CEO, Vitor Anjos. My name is Henrik Hintze and I'm the analyst here at ABG covering the company. Welcome, Vitor.
Thank you, Henrik.
So, soon you will be taking over the role as CEO of SinterCast. You joined the company in 2024 as operations director to prepare for the role. You've been working alongside Steve, the current CEO, who's been at the company for 2 decades or something like that.
Yes,
how have the past 2 years of working with him prepared you to take over?
Well, I would say it was very important to get to know well the company and prepare me for the future. As you said, Steve is at the company for a long time, as CEO for 24 years, so he has a lot of history. He made a fundamental change in the company, so he was the person bringing it from a technology idea into a profitable business. So it was important to have this overlap time with him, and it's also not usual that you see that the transition is prepared with 2 years in advance, so I certainly benefited from it. The first year was more dedicated to know the company from the inside, learn the history of the company, learn the technology, get familiar with the programs, with the customers, and that was really important. The second year was more focused on learning the business. So I've been traveling together with Steve a lot to get contact with the customers and with the OEMs with which we relate to, and the business itself. And then from January this year, I stepped to Deputy CEO role. So now I'm more driving the business and having Steve as a discussion partner. And everything went as planned, so I am 100% ready to take over in May.
Sounds very good.
Yes.
So what would you say have been the most interesting or maybe surprising things you've learned since joining the company?
Yeah, it was a good surprise. I know SinterCast since my times at university when I was studying. Part of the material I study at university about CGI was written by Steve, so that's where I got to know SinterCast. But entering the company, it was a big surprise in 2 aspects. The first one was to know the people that work at SinterCast. It's a small company, 25 people, but very focused team and experienced team, very autonomous in the work they do, so it works really well. They are well aligned with the company vision and mission, which is important because by the nature of our business with a high recurring revenue, they understand that they need to serve the customer and have a customer focus, because if the customer grows, we also grow, and that is really important for us driving the business forward. The second one was to understand the impact that SinterCast had in the industry, because it really was an initial work of setting the standards for the material, convincing the customers about the benefits of the technology, and then ended up or started with the first engine with high series production in 2003. And you think that, or I realized that if it wasn't for SinterCast, maybe the CGI adoption was not done, and we would not be talking about CGI engines these days. So it was a really important role that the company had, and that was good for me to understand and to realize this.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, so before joining SinterCast, you were CEO at an iron foundry in Portugal, right?
Yes, indeed,
Yeah, that's sort of an interesting point to be coming from as you joined SinterCast. How would you say that experience will sort of have shaped how you approach taking over the helm at SinterCast?
It was important. So when going a little bit back, when I left university and I went to work in Germany, I worked with foundries that produced cast iron cylinder blocks and cylinder heads. And during that period working in Germany, I was able to learn a lot about the technical side of the foundry technology, about the foundry business, and working, producing castings for automotive industry. So that gave me a lot of technical background during that time. Then when I returned to Portugal, I took this role as CEO of the biggest foundry in Portugal that did not produce cylinder blocks or heads, but produced other castings, iron castings for automotive industry. And that gave me the experience from the business side of running a foundry. So the operation efficiency, organizing the structure of the foundry to work, the relationship with the OEM customers. So it gave me the other part of the vision from the business. And now stepping into SinterCast, both of these experiences are really important to drive the business forward, because I understand what the customer wants. I understand the difficulties that the foundry goes through to deliver their castings in strategic terms, where it's more important to give a solution to the foundry or to the customer. So this combined understanding, it's always an advantage to drive the business forward. When I was working back in Portugal as COO, I was offered the role of CEO of that foundry, but then I chose instead to join SinterCast and become the CEO of SinterCast, because I believe that this is where I can make a bigger difference in terms of technology change and benefit for the industry, for sure.
Okay, very good. So now that you will soon be taking over SinterCast, what should investors expect strategically? Will there be any changes, like you alluded to?
Yeah.
What's the plan vis-a-vis R&D, growth, capital allocation, things like that?
Yeah. So it will not be a big change. I see it as a evolution of what we have done until now. So the focus will always be to deliver on the growth of our core business. That's where we will grow the most in the upcoming years. And a lot of my focus will be on delivering this growth opportunity. But then at the same time, we are at the stage of experience and maturity at the company, where we should look for additional opportunities of growth. And that's where it comes, this opportunity to look for inorganic growth opportunities, so that we can go beyond our current market, and we can go beyond our current technology. And this is something that, also based in my experience until here, it's really something that I want to drive in the company forward, naturally with the support from our board. And all of this will be done, as you say, we will have to look in a different way to the way we reinvest in the company, in the business. But at the end, I will always look to have a balance between reinvesting in the business to make it grow, and then drive the share price, which is also important, and also to provide dividend to the shareholders, so that we have a balanced strategy that can maximize the value that we are able to bring to our shareholders, both on the share price and also on the dividend. So we will keep both in our strategy.
And maybe on the inorganic initiatives, SinterCast doesn't really have a history of growing inorganically. How would you say, are there opportunities here? What sort of things would be relevant for SinterCast?
So we don't have that experience in the management, as you say, but we have it in our board, and that is why it's really important to have the support from our board to help drive this initiative forward. So we are looking for those opportunities, and naturally we will look for something that it's closer to our expertise. So we will not aim to grow in areas that we don't have experience on. So we want to have something close to us, which we have experience and we understand the business, and we can help grow that business, and not just acquire something to live on its own.
Okay, very good. All right, so turning a bit more to recent events here, you reported Q4 quite recently, and in that report you updated the long-term guidance a bit. You're now targeting the milestone production of 6 million engine equivalents in 29, I believe, and 8 million in 2031, right? So these milestones that you often set targets for, they relate to sort of monthly peak production, if I'm right. So could you maybe help investors who in their spreadsheets are more interested in the full year production, what sort of these peak productions would correspond to in these years?
Sure. So you are right. We have this. We increased our outlook going forward. Because the information we get from the market and from the work that we do together with the OEMs show that there is this growth potential. Recently, there's this better realization that the electrification will not be as easy as anticipated. So we see a shift on the way the industry looks at the internal combustion engine as something that can provide solutions for the improvement of the environment and sustainability now without waiting for electrification to come. So we see OEMs quitting for some of their electrification programs. We see them going back to promote the hybrid vehicles and going back to develop new internal combustion engines. And this is really what gives us this confidence that we also already announced that, and especially in the commercial vehicle sector, that currently 40% of all commercial vehicles that are sold, they have CGI technology in their engines. And we forecast that until 2030, this will increase to 80%. So this growth is driven by what we see in the market. As for example, we announced that there will be 2 new engine platforms being launched in the next 2 years. And in 2025, we also started to work in a new program with an OEM that will be released in 2031. So there is a lot of investment in the growth and development of new engine programs. And there, our confidence that our core business will grow. And then to go to your question about the peaks, indeed, we set our milestones based on the highest rate that we get on a given year. When we reach this peak of production, will always depend on where in the year it comes. We know that there are better months and lower months over the year. We know that from March until June, normally the production is strong. From September until November, the production is also strong. So depending on if the peak comes in the early phase of the year or in the later phase of the year, will have an impact on the overall year volume. But I would say, based on our experience from reaching the 1 million milestone and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, that if the peak, the milestone comes in the beginning of the year, there is a higher chance that at the year end we will reach the same volume. If it comes later in the year, not. But I would think that we can consider something like 0.2 to 0.4 million engine equivalents less in the year compared to the peak that we achieved on that year.
Okay, so not that big of a difference.
No,
then, actually.
No. In this growing trend, no. And then we can never predict disruptions in the market that could influence as well.
But there's still quite some time left until 2031. Could you maybe just elaborate a bit on sort of how close are your dialogues with customers that you feel confident in making predictions that far out? Because so all our predictions are based on the feedback that we get from the OEMs and from our customers, and they are all based on existing programs or programs that are planned to come into production. So we are very secure about what is coming in the future because we get the information that this is being prepared. And when you launch an engine, you have 3 years of work to do before it comes the launch date. So the only thing that might influence is the timing. If indeed the launch of the engine will not be delayed for some reason, and if it does not happen in the year we are expecting, it will delay 1 year or 1.5 years. So the only danger is the timeline to push into the right, to push into the future, and not really the risk of the program not going forward, because it's a big investment from the OEM, and they will do it. Okay, very good. Maybe just to conclude then, what is some underappreciated aspect of SinterCast that you will be highlighting to investors when you take over?
Yeah, so one of the things is I think our core business. Yeah, for many years we had this expectation that electrification will pick up and everything will change really quick to electrification. We always said that it wouldn't be like that. Yeah, it would not be that easy. So I think that our core business is underestimated. I think that both internal combustion engines and the application of CGI will be important going forward, because all of these programs that we are working in, that I just mentioned, so 2 to be launched in the next 2 years and the one we are working for 2031, they will be the first generation engines in some cases for that OEM. So it's a transition from conventional iron to CGI, so it's all additional volume. And as Steve said some years ago, he expected that all Western commercial vehicle OEMs will have a CGI engine by the end of the decade, and is right about that. So this, and there is not this realization on the audience that this will happen. And if we think about the numbers that I gave before, so 40% of commercial vehicle engines are CGI now, they will be 80% by 2030. Even if electrification grows, it will grow to 10%. So CGI will grow 5 times faster than electrification will grow for the application in commercial vehicles. So, and this is really something powerful that the market hasn't realized yet, and that we are trying to convey. The other thing is the scalability of our business. So we have 90% of our revenue is recurring. So within this growth trend going forward, we will be able to scale our business and increase a lot our revenue without adding much to our cost structure, because we can support this growth. And this is also something that maybe it's not totally perceived by the market, this big growth potential that we have ahead of us. And this growth is also what gives me the comfort for the strategy, that we would be able to reinvest some of this growth into expanding the business, both organic and inorganically going forward. With the focus that going forward, we always have to deliver on our results and look for high recurring revenue business. Also, when we look for inorganic growth, that is always the focus, and guarantee the high margins of our business so that we can continue to deliver more value to our shareholders. That will always be the focus.
All right, very good. Thank you very much for your time, Vitor.
You're welcome.
We look forward to seeing more of you going forward.
My pleasure to come here again to deliver on the results.
Yes, very good. And thank you all for listening in.